Hi everyone, you are joining me in an emotional event at the Nanjing Massacre Memorial. Today, Nanjing is remembering one of the darkest chapters in human history. Exactly 81 years ago, the Japanese army brutally slaughtered over 300,000 unarmed Chinese men, women, and children here in Nanjing in the Second World War. Actually, behind me is a mass grave of many of those who perished under the atrocities of the Japanese army. And here, what you are seeing is a world peace ceremony held by the monks from not just China, but also from South Korea and Japan. So it is an event to remember history and also heal from the hatred. And here we can see that many of the monks are already singing their songs while burning the incense. And behind the monks, you can see those families of the victims who suffered in the Second World War, especially the Nanjing Massacre. Let me stop for a while so that we can listen to their songs and try to commemorate that part of history for a short while. The monks are praying for the dead in the hope of bringing peace for them in heaven, while at the same time providing some spiritual strength for us living on the earth today. And as I said, what is special about these monks is that they are international. They're not just from China, but also from South Korea and Japan. And they're jointly coming here to recognize that part of history, while at the same time try to show to the world that they really care about it. And here is the Wailing Wall. On the wall of it, you can see there are many names of those who were killed in the Nanjing Massacre. And I can tell you that there are over 10,000 names carved on the wall. And actually, if I look at the names, some of them, it's not just a personal tragedy that they've been killed by the Japanese army as unarmed civilians, but actually you can tell that it's for some of them it's a family annihilation. You can tell that it's a whole family with the same surname killed and with the name carved on the wall. Each of these names were documented and carved after a string of careful verification by Chinese and international historians in the spirit of seeking truth and respecting life. Today, there are 10,664 names in total carved on it. Now the monks are still singing their songs. And actually, this morning, there has already been some ceremony that is about remembering this part of the tragic history. 请我们摄影师继续拍摄这边。I just told our cameraman to stay on the ceremony and to have a look about what's going to happen next. And today is the day when Nanjing fell, 81 years ago in the year 1937. And for 6 weeks, the Japanese army carried out indiscriminate killing of people here in Nanjing. Their purpose was to try to dominate the country by showing their violence and showing their strength, and try to win the war by creating fear in China. And there were Japanese armies coming here to kill, but there were also the Japanese monks here trying to heal from that kind of hatred. And it's one of the essential spirit of Buddhism that sometimes we make mistakes, but if we recognize your mistakes and try to correct the mistakes, you're actually even more, you're an even better Buddhist believer. That's what the Buddhists believe. So that's why they're here trying not to forget that part of history, but try to forgive some of the mistakes that they've made. And now the monks are bowing in front of the Buddha. And I think they are coming to the next phase of the event. Let's take a look what they were doing here. Here you can see those family members of those victims. Today there are less than 100 survivors of the Nanjing Massacre, which happened 81 years ago. Most of them are very aged today, and I talked to some of them and they told me that all they want in the remaining days of their life, as they're so old today, is to get an apology from the Japanese government. But so far, that apology still hasn't come, as the Japanese government continues to deny that part of history and refuse to apologize.
落叶草枯天下寒，北风萧飒绝岩端。南京公葬未临了，终日群民心自安。中日和平世界和平祈愿法会，日本京都妙心寺凌云院，中日佛教友好使者泽竹秀文。
And as they are speaking about that, let's take a look at this welding wall. This is the place where the names of the victims have been carved on it. And we can see from these names that some of them are even nicknames, not even the full name of the victims, because we can tell from the names because these are Chinese. And let me tell you what it is. This means little tiger. This means a little lamb. This means little ducklings. And that one actually says the mother of the little ducklings. So we can see it's the nickname of the victim, and also for some of the victims, they don't even have a name. After a lot of careful verification by historians, they have who this person is without getting the name of that person. So we can tell that it's a whole family that has been wiped out by the Japanese army when they invaded Nanjing and when they seized the city. And it's a string of tragedy on the wall. Each name means a tragedy. And as I just said, there are over 10,000 names on it. And one thing that I must show to you is that just a few days ago, another 26 names have been added on this wall after the long list of the victims being killed. Somewhere from here, these are the newly added names which were carved on the wall just a few days ago, and the families have put the ink on it to make it stands out and to make them clearer, because they believe that sometimes the ink may blur, but what they are trying to make sure is that the history and also the memory will be always clear, and it will never be forgotten. Now the emotional part of the Nanjing Massacre Memorial is still continuing there, as the monks are continuing to singing songs and reading the holy scriptures. This is the place where the World Peace Ceremony is being held, and the entire world will be able to see this on the live streaming platforms as well as TVs, and hopefully it is a time for everyone to pause for a moment to see and to think about that part of history. Actually, this morning there was already a big event with the Chinese national flag flying at half-mast, as well as the air raid sirens also went off, as tens of thousands of people here in the Nanjing Massacre Memorial Site, as well as the city of the entire Nanjing, the people of the entire Nanjing city stopped whatever they were doing, and they lowered their head and paid tribute for a minute of silence. This World Peace Ceremony started from 3 o'clock this afternoon, and it will go on for about half an hour. And later, after the World Peace Ceremony, we will have another ceremony which will start from 5:30 p.m. local time. That one will be a candlelight vigil, another very emotional event to remember the dead and provide spiritual strength for those who are still living today, to remember the history and heal from hatred. I am Han Peng reporting in Nanjing, and we will provide you with more updates. Thank you.